everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2 Naruhodo's Resolve. This is V-Diffuser. In our last episode, we actually got some testimony from our victim, and we found out that our victim is accused of being a gas thief by this guy's boss, who was on the jury, no less. Let's see if there are any grounds for it. Excuse me. Wow. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Miss Susato? I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo. Both the bees, the queen and the worker. I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont gas meters accept 3 penny bits. Each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key. Somehow, he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn my hallowed chalice. What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zieks? Did the mustachioed Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or did me? That is all that should concern this court, and yet, now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance. This could turn out to be crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. Do what you will. Lord Van Zieks appears to be in a violent mood. Yep, he does. And an attempted poisoning, and an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true they would appear completely unrelated at first glance. But I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places. And the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. Alrighty, cross-examination time. Yeah. And yet the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. Hold it! Out of interest, how long has this been going on? Weeks and weeks! He's been pinching gas off us for ages! And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room, I take it? Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I'm afraid we didn't. Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspeare Special. That sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces. But even after all that, the rascal meters was still empty. I'll never forget the humiliation. When I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what, I say? You what? And the look on his face, that smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. Well, you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jemmied open anywhere. Not a single sign. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter? Nothing became of it. I've still got it. Oh. Right here. No wonder they call you Meterman. I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while the trial is ongoing. Okay then, let's see if we can... definitely. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Well, I'd say it is as much value as the contents of that meter. I wouldn't think so. Oh ho! What's this? Have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo? Just here, there's a little hole. You see? Goodness, you're right. I couldn't have noticed. It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say. So you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspeare? Possibly. It seems the people at Altamont Gas must have missed it. Now, that certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside. But there's no way a coin could fit through there. But even so, it seems more than a little suspicious. There's a little hole there. Well, let's see if this does anything. Oof. Lady, we've got what you need. Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say, this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. What? You know what? I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. In that case, what do you have to say about this small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box? Oh, what? You're right. You're quite right. There's a little hole there. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do. In other words, we can assume Mr. Shamspeare secretly opened this hole up himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised. But why? Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing through that. Lady Ultimate, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design. What sort of details? Well, what I'd specifically like to know is how it differentiates coins. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1-penny coin, that wouldn't work presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a 3-penny bit? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A 3-penny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. Other coins just won't fit. I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. Alright, we got... I didn't want to do that. Alright, so... Well, well, well. Look at this bar of soap. There's a circular depression on this side, about 2 centimeters across, or 3/4 of an inch. We found this soap at the seam, didn't we? Yes. There were 2 bars on that little ledge just outside the window, so we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. He's been putting in soap in the thickness of the coins. Where could it have gone? Alrighty. Alrighty. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a 3-penny bit. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating Mr. Shamspeare's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly. Something the same size as the 3-penny bit. What was it? The item in question is this. Whoa! I haven't been inhaling gas. That's a bar of soap. It certainly looks nothing like a 3-penny bit, I must say. It looks like I'm gonna have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is this part here.
Got it!
You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean. Ah! Are you referring to that round depression in the middle of the soap there? That's right, a deep depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a 3-penny bit. Get away! Does anyone here have there in possession a 3-penny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it? Thanks to a kind member of the public in the gallery, I have here a 3-penny bit. And to see if it fits. My word! It couldn't be more snug! Yes, as I suspected, this, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Ultima Gas Company is being defrauded. Well, I don't believe it. So, your estimation amounts to what? Some inferior bar of soap as a tentative connection to the theft of gas. Yes! The depression in the soap was clearly meant by a 3-penny bit. I must concur, at least, that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin's shape. And then you just use, well, some melted wax or something to pour in the mold. You can make fake coins in no time. This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamspeare has been using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. And now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's gonna bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. But this is all nonsense! If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter. Quite true, Lady Ultimate. In the absence of some black magic that can make him disappear. I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air. Yes. It's the hole in the bottom. There are remnants of the magical method used visible on him. Alright. Yeah, there's this little hole. I meant to present. We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window. Outside? Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meterman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap. Wait! I'll get it. That's right. The answer, of course, is ice. Did you say ice? Mr. Shamspeare has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening, filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water's completely frozen solid the next morning. Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them to the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts, turning back into water, and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing ultimate gas. Just like that. So simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots? He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water. That's right, madam. I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless. I'm fairly sure I did design it. Evidence! Sorry. I want evidence if you're going to stand here and tell us that our meters are rubbish. I want to see proof. She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she? Very well, Lady Altamont. But if you'd like evidence, I'll provide it. What? Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying you actually have evidence to support this theory? I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. And I have a feeling this theory we've come up with now could explain it. A piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how he has been stealing gas is the crime scene photograph.
Take that!
This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson. And it clearly shows the remnants of a crime carried out by Mr. Shamspeare. What remnants? Yeah, there's water underneath it. You can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shamspeare's room. Now look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter. What's that? Some kind of grubby stain. Almost certainly. It's a water stain resulting from the liquid that's drained out of the hole made in the meter. If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage and the occupant was heating his room all those waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor. This is awful. And there's further evidence, too. Mr. Shamspeare slumped over his table, apparently having consumed strychnine. Right there next to him is a bar of soap, broken in half. You're right. It would appear to me then, counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he? Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but certainly not. He didn't beat about the bush there, did he? In truth, Mr. Shamspeare was found with a fork in his hand. A meal of soap is sounding increasingly likely. You mean to say he was using that fork to... Yes. To extract a frozen coin from a bar of soap. But the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well. Good gracious! My leg! Lord Van Zeeks! I was throwing my hand up in despair, and happened to catch my hallowed bottle on the way. Pray forgive my maladroit mistake. What is the meaning of this, counsel? Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination? Well, that Mr. William Shamspeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable. That's it. That's exactly it. Very well. Let us assume the man is a liar. Now allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make? Well, we know that strict suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which you have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Oh, he's got us there. Even if William Shamspeare is the liar you claim him to be. These facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it. Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate adjudication. You? What? Order! Order! Well, counsel, how does the defense respond? Alright, we're gonna have Mr. Naruhodo. What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Van Zieks has said? No, I'm raising an objection. No, this isn't over. The defense will not rest. What? Well, counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method used by Mr. Shamspeare to consume gas. What more is there to discuss? Lord Van Zieks just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point. But contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all. What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend? At least one of those so-called facts is an assumption made due to lack of evidence. Was the poison in the tea? But the situation has changed now, following the cross-examination of the latest witness to take the stand. Don't be absurd! What is this nonsense? Yes, when you bring everything we've learned so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There's a question we now need to consider. Namely, was the poison in the tea? We've all been led to believe that in strychnine poisoning that afflicted Mr. Shamspeare was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsume. But that's conjecture at best.
Objection!
The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There's no other possibility. And since there was no trace of the tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison.
Objection!
As I said, the situation has changed. Because in fact, some of Mr. Natsume's tea was left at the scene. And a particular piece of evidence proves it.
Objection!
A ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard's detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence are you suggesting they missed? The soap. He used the tea in the soap.
Take that!
Good gracious. The soap. Again. The same bar the victim used to fashion his coins of ice. Yes, that's right, my lord. He just came back to me. Something about when we first found this bar of soap at the scene yesterday. It's more bars of soap. It had like a red splotch in it. I'm quite certain that when we originally stumbled upon the bars of soap, there was actually a frozen coin in each bar. So you discovered the gas thief's coin factory. Fascinating. In a way, yes. But there's more. The coins we found in the soap at the time weren't normal ice. There was something strange about them, you mean? Exactly. Something very obviously strange. They were red. The ice was red? No. You mean... That's right. It's obvious to me now. The fake coins in the soap were made from frozen tea. What? I would remind the court of a statement made by Mr. Natsume earlier in this trial. That evening, yes. I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room, as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result! Never will I touch tea again. Ever. Never! Ah yes, I believe there had been a snowfall that day. It was particularly cold. Sadly, on such occasions, the poorly constructed water mains in the East End are prone to freezing. So on the night in question, Mr. Shamspeare, having no running water to use, was forced to use the tea brought by Mr. Natsume in order to make his fake coins. My word! There were 2 bars of soap on the window ledge when my judicial assistant and I investigated the scene. That's right, and we only borrowed one of them. Which means that even as we speak, some of the defendant's tea is still present at the scene of the crime, frozen solid in a bar of soap outside Mr. Shamspeare's window. Extraordinary! Earlier today, Inspector Gregson informed the court that if even 1 drop of the tea remained, Scotland Yard would be able to analyze it for poison. As such, we are now in a position to prove or disprove what has until now been mere conjecture. What do you gotta say to that? By finding out for sure whether or not Mr. Natsume's tea actually contains strychnine at all. Ugh! You smug Nipponese! My lord, we cannot do the defendant the injustice of passing judgment now. The police should be dispatched to recover the remaining bar of soap from the scene at once. And the defense requests a thorough analysis of the frozen tea embedded in it, to determine whether or not it contains any poison at all. Bailiff! Bailiff! Instruct the police to attend the scene at once! Yes, my lord. Understood. If that doesn't do anything, I don't know what will. It would seem we have no choice but to suspend these proceedings for the time being. I trust you have no objection, Lord Van Zieks. None whatsoever, my lord. Scotland Yard will recover the tea from the scene and carry out the requisite tests immediately. The trial will resume at the same hour tomorrow. Prosecution and defense may conduct further investigations as appropriate in the interim. Yes, my lord. Well, we managed to scrape through there somehow. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned until tomorrow. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna save, and we are going to figure out what's going on in the next episode. See you guys next time.